Hey, so I'm sitting here in the room that I grew up in, which makes an appearance in the book, probably like third of the way through, about a little more than that. And I just wanted to talk about why I decided to write the book in the first place, why I decided to release it digitally, why it's coming out now, if it's coming out, if you want to think about it like that. I don't really think about it like that, but it's been on my mind and in my life for a while, so I wanted to get it out. The first of all, the book came about. I would say that the reason I wrote it, I was in a bad place at the end of a relationship, and at the same time, Kanye West was making 808s and Heartbreaks, which was sort of coming from the same place, and I felt like it was something that just spewed out of him. And I was really inspired by that. I was inspired by the process of turning sort of a tragedy into a creative process. And tragedy is probably too strong of a word. But that was my impetus for saying, okay, now I want to write the book. It'd be something I'd actually been thinking about for like a year before I started it, and I was moved by a lot of different things that are happening in the culture and just digitally with communication and how um, I had formed relationships with people and had relationships with people across many, many miles and many, many places and spaces, and had never I really spent a lot more time talking to them online than I'd actually spent talking to them on person or talking to them through text, and how that was changing the ways that I was interpreting relationships, how relationships were being formed. And there's a long distance relationship in this book, which is sort of based around a lot of the different ways we communicate now and how that just shapes relationships and changes the way we live. So that was one part of what made me that one thing I thought I could talk about in a way that maybe I hadn't seen other people talk about in a novel before, and that was one of the reasons that I wrote it. I mean, the big undercurrent was the emotional one, which I think was just designed to try to help people who were going through something, were in the midst of a bad situation, and felt lonely, sad, hopeless, and I wanted to try to chronicle that experience and say, why does life have to be so hard? And look at that and really try to examine it and create a story that also was about hope and about overcoming sadness. So there are sad parts in the book, and it was written from a place of sadness, but it is about getting out of that place. And those were sort of the reasons that I wrote it. And I think that or I hope that I did something that feels current and modern and is kind of cool. And there's a lot of music in the book, a lot of things that come out of who I am as a person and what interests me and what's inspired me throughout my years as developing as a creative person. And this is the first book I wrote. I've written scripts for a while with my little brother Timmy, who did the little cover image for me. He didn't take the picture, but he did the Photoshop bit. So that's really why I wrote the book. In terms of why I decided to put it out now, why I decided to do it digitally, it it's mainly just about timing. Like I felt like I didn't actively pursue publishers. Um, I just felt like I had already had to rewrite the book once because Twitter came into existence. And I had written it all with just Facebook and just text messages, and then Twitter came into existence, or it didn't really come into existence, but it became a bigger part of our lives and of my life, and it had just become a really good way to communicate with people that I otherwise would never communicate with and learn from and experience certain things, albeit from a different frame than meeting them in person. But it has also led to some of that. But having said that, I already had to rewrite the book once because of Twitter. I was like, if I sit on this book for a year, if I sit on a book to go through the process of trying to get it published traditionally, it's going to take months. If I go through the process then of having it edited and then published from this point on, that's going to take another year as it normally does. And I think it's questionable what size of an audience I'm going to get by waiting, how much bigger the audience would be by waiting through all that time, and what kind of impact it would have, um, because of it just being delayed. It would not be at the same not at the same kind of release point, the same trajectory as a culture and a society. And I didn't really want someone else to do a lot of stuff I did digitally, and just using Twitter and Facebook and YouTube. There's a YouTube movie which I might post up here soon. Um, so yeah, all that stuff was kind of like the reason that I wanted to just do it and get it out now, and live with the results. And I don't have high expectations. I don't didn't do it to make money. I just felt like I had something to offer from an emotional standpoint and an intellectual standpoint, and I thought that I would put it into a book form, in a form that I don't think too many people who are typically interested in some of the same things that I'm interested in don't usually write books. I'm not even making a leap to say that, but I'm going to go so far as to say that, particularly because not too many people even like read that much anymore. But anyway, that's a story at the moment about the book, and I'm gonna try to do some more videos and just maybe talk about points or go to places and that pop up in the book so you can see what they're like. It's predominantly set around Cleveland. A lot of it comes from memory and imagination, and so it's sometimes Cleveland, sometimes a variation of Cleveland, and it is just about confronting change and how people handle that, and what it means. It starts with a Tupac quote. I don't know too many pieces of literary fiction that do that. So if you read it, cool. If you don't, cool. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. Um, it's just something I kind of needed to do. If maybe I'm being selfish by saying that, but I hope that someone, at least one person somewhere, likes it. So yeah, nice talking to you in one way or another. Bye.